everyone, and welcome back to our Take on Cruise with Shannon and Roger, or Roger and Shannon. My name is Shannon McKee with Access Cruise, and as always, I have
Roger Blum with Cruise and Port Advisors, and we come to you today. We are back in Shannon's hood, but Shannon, this isn't your house. Where are we?
No, we're at Plymouth Congregational Church today, and this is one of my favorite places that I come. I bring the dogs down here to run. The kids went to preschool here. You know, in European terms, it's a pretty new church, but in U.S. terms, and especially South Florida terms, it was built in 1897, and it's all built out of coral rock, which is very typical here in South Florida. So a beautiful place, very quiet, tranquil, nice place to come and just kind of zen.
There are just so many cool areas in South Florida that we get to visit, and Shannon lives in a cool area. I kind of like my neighborhood, but we are here to give you our take on cruise. So the summer was supposed to be this quiet time for business where everyone's taking cruises, business is good, but not a lot happens. And that's not really the case, is it, this year?
No, not this summer. This summer there has been some really big news stories that have come out. First of all, Crystal, the ships have been bought by A&K, and Manfredi from Silversea was behind it. So that poses an interesting question on what's going to happen, because Manfredi owns Silversea, sold it to Royal Caribbean Group. Do we think some of those executives might cross over and move over to the Crystal side?
Well, first of all, I was really disappointed because if you saw one of our previous episodes,
that's true.
Shannon and I were bidding on those Crystal ships, and we had our whole management team together, so we lost the bid. So I'm kind of getting over that. But
28 million for that was the lesser ship. The one ship was 100 million.
Yeah.
We could have gotten the 28 million.
Plus, what was it, 13 million or something?
Yeah, for the
for
brand.
the name, for the brand, the website, the list. So Crystal will be back. And
Yes.
Crystal is a very beloved brand. But what they've said is they do have some fences to mend. That Crystal name for their onboard product, their service was great. But the last few months of business and their last couple years, there's some consumers and travel advisors who have a bitter taste in their mouth. So they've got some fences to mend. But
you know what, though? I have to say that Crystal Cruises, and one of the reasons they were so successful is because it was about the people, the onboard crew. And what I did see is that these ships is going to be giving them priority to go back on those ships, the Crystal crew.
No, and I think that's only fair, and you're absolutely right. The people are the most important thing in any business, and I would say in the cruise business even more so. All the ships today are fantastic, beautiful ships. What differentiates them is the crew, and the Crystal ships aren't really new ships, but the crew is the main thing. Now, for those crew members, and I've obviously been in touch with a couple of people, they don't think the ships are actually going to start sailing until before the next summer season.
Oh, wow.
So
that's quite the ramp up.
Yeah, well, they're going to do a big refurbishment, major dry dock, all this type of stuff. And if that's the case, that's still a lot more time out of work. So we'll see what happens, but it's a great product.
Yeah.
I'm glad they're back. You mentioned Manfredi, A&K.
Right.
These are people who
Great
understand.
brands.
Yeah, and they understand the luxury market. They understand service. With A&K, they might be more destination focused than they had been before. And that's great news, but that's not the only news.
No, that wasn't the only news. It was really interesting that there are ships moving from Costa to Carnival to form a new brand.
Well, it was previously announced that Costa Magica was going to come to Carnival. Instead, Costa Luminosa is going to be coming, and that ship will be transformed into a Carnival ship. So it'll be Carnival, Carnival, Carnival. But what was interesting is two more Costa ships, Firenze and Venezia, are also going to be coming over with a new brand called Costa by Carnival. So basically what that means is these ships will remain exactly as they are. They'll still be called Costa. They'll have the yellow funnel with a C. Interior-wise, everything will be the same as it was, but there will be Carnival crew, Carnival management, Carnival entertainment, Carnival fun. So that's going to be an interesting thing.
Well, you know, I asked you just a little while ago, so I'm going to let everybody else
We'll
know
let
what I
them
asked
listen
you.
in?
Let them listen in on this, was that, you know, does that mean that Carnival's going to try to take on a bigger presence in Europe, which traditionally they've been in the Caribbean? And you thought not. I thought that maybe that was their way of establishing two ships in Europe, but you said no. You don't think so?
Well, from what I understand, one of the Costa by Carnival ships will be based in New York. The other will be based in LA. And what's interesting, by them not making changes, it still leaves the flexibility for these ships to go back to Costa. These ships were originally designed and built to be in the Chinese market, which, as we know, isn't happening right now.
Not yet.
But one day China will be back, and they're kind of leaving this in their pocket that it's going to be pretty easy, while Carnival's building new ships and bringing in new deliveries, to then transition these ships back to Costa without having to, change the funnel, repaint the ship, redecorate.
Yeah, and I did also see that Carnival is one of the ships that's sailing 100%, 110% is what they're saying that they're sailing at. So bringing these two ships on, they obviously have the pent-up demand, and they're filling their ships.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. Right now, and you can see it with Carnival, if the money was in Europe, the ships would have stayed with Costa.
Yeah.
If the money is over here with Carnival Cruise Line, they're shifting the ships over where they can get the greatest return. So I think you hit the nail on the head. That's the reason the Costa ships are coming over to Carnival instead of staying under the Costa brand.
Well, that's the nice thing also about the Carnival Corporation, is that you have this flexibility in how they can collaborate and work together. While they're still competitors on some levels, they are sister brands, and there is a lot of collaboration. So it's nice to see that Carnival Corporation, even though, right now the market's not that great and stocks are down across the board, I have faith. Carnival Corporation, they're going to come out on top.
Well, I think between all of the big brands, they're going to do fine. It's tough. The debt service now is expensive. Fuel is expensive. But
everything.
We'll get past it because cruising is still the best value. And I know we preach it, the cruise lines do, but I just was on vacation. You were just traveling, and it's expensive now.
Very. And, we were saying that there's talk out there, if you watch all the FUD in the news, that there's going to be a recession. But that's the one thing the cruise lines have done so well, is they've navigated these because of their value proposition. So I have no fear when it comes to the cruise industry that they will continue sailing, those ships will be full, and that we're going to come out on the other side of this strong.
Absolutely. So I'm going to go book a cruise.
Me too. All right.
And until next week.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.